Hey there, everybody. Some of these Keith Gordon episodes, we ran into a little technical issues. Bear with us and enjoy the rest of the content. And without further ado, cue the music.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jules.
And
we doing filmographies. What week is this?
It's week 3 of Keith Gordon.
Yep.
Tonight we're going to be talking about All That Jazz, the Bob Fosse directed movie from, is it 1980? I believe.
79.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, fuck that right up. I did want to kind of talk about a few things right off the bat here.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about Keith Gordon and
the man, the myth, the legend.
To me, that, I almost did a solo podcast just about Keith Gordon.
Really?
I was coming up with a podcast that I could do by myself, and I was going to call it Weirdly Into.
Oh.
And the first run of things would be Keith Gordon.
That would be apt. Yeah, because it is weird.
There are people that are weirdly into Keith Gordon. We interview them every now and then. You see interviews every 5-7 years. Somebody hunts them down.
Yeah. Well, what little we've seen of him so far, I did like him in Jaws 2.
I've liked him in pretty much everything, to varying degrees.
Home movies he was fine in there.
I liked him in home movies. I don't like home movies. I liked him in home movies. I also wanted to talk about how I kind of want to talk to him.
Oh.
I'm not going to.
I mean, he may reach out to us.
I highly doubt it, perhaps.
He may reach out to us and say, hey, I'm getting millions of new fans.
There's fucking so many people. Wow. Man, if he's getting millions of new fans, we have 50 million listeners?
Yeah.
Wow, guys. Make sure you drop us a line at filmographies@gmail.com. I think it would be very interesting to chat with him about these things. I don't think he wants to talk about his acting career anymore. I'd also like to know more about these missing movies. If anybody out there can locate Keith Gordon's TV movies, that'd be great.
Yeah, if your grandfather or great-grandfather worked NBC, I'm assuming?
We don't know where they come from.
Yeah,
there's 4 of them, I think.
Because are you talking about movies or a mini-series?
Well, I'm he's got that Kent State miniseries, which I'm somewhat curious about. I'm very interested.
Is that about the protest?
Yeah, well, why it's the protest that leads to the murders.
Yeah.
Of the National Guard.
Right. Yeah.
I assume he would. Who knows what he would be? I would think he'd be a hippie.
Oh, absolutely.
What if he's one of the Guard members?
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'm somewhat curious about that. He's got another one that I can't remember the name of that would be number 3 on the list of his filmographies. But that American Playhouse, My Pelicari, apparently it exists in the torrent world. Somebody told me that, but did not tell me how to get it. And boy, did I look real hard over several days.
Yeah.
But that's the Telly Savalas movie, where Telly Savalas is like his dad or his granddad and brings him back to Greece. And, maybe they have some battles about it, some emotional moments.
Yeah, some generational hiccups.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
There's at least one other one, too. Luckily, Single Bars, Single Women, and Combat Academy are both findable.
Well, I mean, there's got to be a VHS copy out there somewhere.
You would think so. I don't know. In My Pelicari, yeah, if I can find that thing.
Yeah, that probably be your,
Kent State, though? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Library of Congress probably has these things on tape.
Maybe.
I'm not flying there to watch them.
Send them an email.
Listen, Jenny, I'm going to need a couple days. Me and Jules are going to go watch Keith Gordon's TV movies at the Library of Congress.
Maybe do a little insurrection.
No, that's what my brain gone. Leave them alone. Don't let them have their stuff. So yeah, it's tempting to try to do an interview with him, but the reasons I wouldn't want to is we hated Waking the Dead, which probably means a lot more to him than any of these movies he acted in.
I'd imagine.
And this is a tiny podcast. We're down in my basement.
Yeah.
My kids are sleeping. This isn't I don't think I should. I also want.
Our biggest fan is your dog.
Yeah. Well, he's your fan.
Well, but can't you just go on some sort of a website and look to see what the Library of Congress has?
That's a great question. I don't know if they index it like that.
God, they better.
But even then, I'm not going there.
Well, but if you know it's there,
then maybe we go there.
Then maybe we go.
That's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
Also, I have been having strong feelings of mortality and aging watching his movies.
Yeah.
Because he's such a sweet baby boy in these movies.
Yeah.
He's so young. And right now he's in his late 60s.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. These movies were 40 plus years ago that we're watching, and he's a teenager.
That's true. That is true.
It's hard. It's hard. It's a little bit to get your head around, especially considering that most of his co-stars are dead.
I will say it's interesting seeing the crossover between some of these movies with some of the actors.
Right, like Roy Scheider.
Roy Scheider. Gosh, who was the woman?
The woman from, she's in home movies and Dress to Kill.
Right, but then also the woman from Dress to Kill is in this movie as like the ethereal character, possibly Death.
That's Jessica Lange.
Yeah.
And what do you think? You think Jessica Lange's in All That Jazz?
Wait a second.
Or wait, Jessica Lange is in All That Jazz.
Yeah.
She's not in Dress to Kill.
Is she not?
No.
I thought that was her.
In the beginning, that lady?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Jessica Lange's way younger than that lady.
I fapped for nothing. Oh, that's Angie Dickinson. They look relatively the same.
No.
We'll just have to agree that I'm right.
Okay. Like The Matrix. Like so.
Hey, you got that one wrong.
And Roy Scheider in the 7-Ups is not the guy from The French Connection.
He's not?
He's a loose reimagining of that character. He's a different last name.
Okay. I count that.
So we're doing All That Jazz. Let's do a little synopses here for you all.
6 beats, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
When he is not planning for his upcoming stage musical or working on his Hollywood film, choreographer-director Joe Gideon, Roy Scheider, is popping pills and sleeping with a seemingly endless line of women. The physical and mental stress begins to take a toll on the ragged perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
Soon he must decide whether or not his non-stop work schedule and hedonistic lifestyle are worth risking his life. This film is a semi-autobiographical tale written by and directed by the legendary Bob Fosse. December 20th, 1979. It's like a Christmas movie.
Is it about Bob Fosse?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's one of the co-writers, but he wrote and directed it.
So he's not dead. I mean, he wasn't dead at the time.
No.
Okay.
Spoiler.
No.
He dies like 9 years later.
Okay. Because, I was like confused. This guy is a choreographer, a stage director, but then he's also like editing movies?
See, I was confused about that first until I decided to read a little bit about it. And I want to taint my viewing experience.
Yeah.
I was like, what, this guy's got a day job cutting together some sort of comedy special?
Yeah.
No, he also directs movies. He's doing both. Because that's what Bob Fosse had like a nice little career of directing films while staging these musicals.
Okay.
He did Lenny, did Cabaret. After this, what does he do? He does Star 80 with Eric Roberts, the big, the Dorothy Stratton movie where she becomes huge in Playboy. She's like a young, impressionable woman. She gets hooked up with Eric Roberts' character who's like super sleazy and controlling. And then as her career gets bigger and she tries to break up with him, eventually he kills her.
Oh.
It's based on the true story.
Oh, I don't know this.
Oh, yeah. That movie's supposed to be fantastic. I've never seen it, but it's supposed to be very good. She was dating Peter Bogdanovich at the time.
Who wasn't? Yeah.
He had a little bit of a sleaze.
Much like, what is his name? Joe Gideon?
Yeah. Bob Fosse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Roy Scheider. I didn't know what to expect going in. I guess I actually know. I expected like a musical.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be
a light-hearted, jazzy musical.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Star is Born type shit, right? And I didn't watch any material going in.
No.
I saw a picture of him and Ben Vereen.
Dude, I saw a couple pictures too where it solidified my opinion.
Oh, I'm like,
gonna suck.
Oh, Ben Vereen, yeah, this is just going to be like that Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson video. Remember that? Where they're like selling like snake oil.
No.
They did a song together and then they do a video and it's like super hokey.
That sounds terrible.
That's what I was anticipating. And immediately I was pretty drawn in.
Dude, this movie is pretty good, man.
I'm a sucker for that kind of inside baseball shit.
Yeah, it's Prefontaine all over, Without Limits all over again, man.
Yeah, like, so, the movie opens and we're just seeing like rapid montage of theater life, right? He's auditioning folk. He's hitting on women.
Victoria Porter, is this your home phone?
We see a lot of men in tight spandex.
Yeah, it's very little dialogue too. It's like mostly movement and stuff.
There's like a music score to it. I guess they filmed all of that in 2 days.
Oh, really?
They only had access to that theater for 2 days, so they did it all. And yeah, you're getting like a lot of producer banter.
God, I hope he doesn't pick her. She's uglier than a witch's tit. The expression is colder than a witch's tit.
How do you know, Ted? You've never seen a woman's tit in your life.
You just see the inner workings of theater.
Yeah.
And I thought...
The desperation, the joy on their faces, the fear that they're not going to be picked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of those people, it's entirely believable.
Yeah, he talks to that one gal, and he says...
You were in the Wiz?
She goes...
Mr. Gideon, I've never been in the Wiz or any show in my life. I had to put something on the card. I really need a job, so I lied.
It's all right, Reem. I lie all the time myself.
Fair enough. And then the next girl, he's like...
Who was the director of Traffic Jam?
You were Mr. Gideon.
How did I do?
Terrific.
It was great.
And who directed it?
Well, you did. And how was he?
Fantastic.
That's how you get a job.
No, he's great, man. The whole world feels super lived in. It feels like a peek into something that I never get to see.
His beard is really weird.
I like it.
It's like a swashbuckler. Three Musketeers style.
Like a line beard with the chin coming off. I guess like a little bit Robin Hoody.
A little bit, yeah. It's like what you would imagine a non-connecting goatee.
Mm-hmm.
But then instead of just wrapping around his chin, it like has a sharp triangular point on each side that juts along his chin. It's, you know.
I don't like Roy Scheider. This
Really?
is what I thought about coming into this. I don't think I've ever liked him. He's fine in Jaws, but he always seems like kind of old and angry. And other than Jaws, I don't think I've liked anything he's been in.
Oh.
Like anytime I catch him in something, like I mean, mainly we're talking like Sequest and like one of his last. He showed up on a TV show in his last few years where he's like the evil heavy that comes out of the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
That's my impression of Roy Scheider. I thought he was fucking awesome in this movie.
Yeah, I can't remember who they originally approached and was signed on for this role.
And they turned it down, or what?
They walked away.
Really?
They didn't have confidence that it was going to really work out.
But Fosse has who?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it says he left the production during the rehearsal stage, citing a lack of confidence in it. And then he would later admit that he made a huge mistake.
I think Bob Fosse's like very proven by this point.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I saw another interesting tidbit. Stanley Kubrick said it's like one of the best movies he's ever seen.
Really?
I mean, it's attributed to him having said that. I guess I don't know if that's...
You heard him say that?
Well, you know...
You heard... He's been dead for a long time, Julian.
That's true. That is very true.
No, I think this movie's got a lot going for it, man. I enjoyed that you were like... pretty bummed. You texted me before you watched it, like, oh, you have no confidence in this movie whatsoever.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick reportedly believed it to be the best film I think I've ever seen.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I was into it, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would be the entire time. I was like, oh, this is pretty good, man. This is it's cool. Sexy.
I opted out of watching this immediately, but it's snappy. It's very loose, but very tight at the same time. Like it's got this loose air of almost like improv, or like these people know each other so well that they don't quite need a script.
Yeah, but it's always thumping along its trajectory towards its points to the end. Like it's not. It doesn't feel like it doesn't have a plot.
No,
very much does.
Yeah, there's never a point where I'm just like, or man, is this checking my watch like with like
yeah.
And in fact, I didn't, I guess, even know what to expect where it would go, and so as we kind of finally get there, I'm just like, whoa, this is a fucking knockout.
I think the moment where I like decided that I really liked it quite a bit was the second time he did his morning ritual of Visine in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have like a drink of scotch?
I think he drinks some scotch and he takes some pills.
He takes some Dexedrine.
I like in the beginning he's showering and he's smoking.
Yeah.
And then he looks at the cigarette like, what the hell?
Like, really? You don't know how water works? No, I really like that. And then he said, what does he say? Showtime, folks?
It's Showtime, folks, yeah.
Okay, because I always think it's Showtime, but then he says it's Showtime, folks.
And I guess that's even referenced in either Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Bob Odenkirk says it.
It's Showtime, folks.
Okay. I think I've heard that a few times in movies. Mm-hmm. People have done the It's Showtime thing with the jazz hands or whatever.
Yeah. So the movie opens, and I'm thinking, like, is this a circus movie? Because he's on a tightrope.
Yeah.
High wire. And he falls, and it's on the net. And no, it's just, I don't know, a metaphor or a part of the production.
Isn't that all?
It doesn't really come up again.
I think that's all his death dream.
Oh.
Everything so is the Jessica Lange is him. This whole movie must be a flash.
So it's, it's hard to put your finger on it. because after a little while, I'm like, well, who is this character that he's talking to?
Yeah.
Right? She's just appearing, but it seems like a production of its own at times, like the Keith Gordon part.
Yeah.
His mom's cooking in the kitchen, but the burlesque is on in the background. So yeah, that's interesting to think that. I mean, you think the movie is just like him kind of fading in and out between like an overall encapsulation of his life, but then also the most recent portion of his life?
I don't know.
Do we ever see scenes? Well, we do see some scenes that he's not in, so it's hard to say.
I mean, it all could be like this conversation he's having with himself as he runs himself into the ground, and then it ties up into a bigger thing at the end that's just waiting for him.
Yeah.
Death. I'm not really sure.
Well, and the nature of the story and the set, I mean, I guess it all kind of lends itself to this sort of production.
Yeah.
You know, this larger than life, but then also not quite confined by realism. Aspect of theater and showmanship. So I'm a little fuzzy on the moment-to-moment playback here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the movie just kind of feels like, I don't know, I'm engaged, but I'm like lost at certain points.
I mean, not a lot is happening other than trying to stage the production of, I don't know what it is in this movie, but I guess it's based on him doing Chicago.
It's called Erotica something.
Is that the name of the thing?
That is.
That's a terrible name, because they say that at one point.
Erotica.
During the sexy
number, yeah.
It's really something.
They say it a couple of times, because at first I'm like, is he making a musical commercial? Because they mention like, oh, we could probably get the airline to use this number. But no, it's Erotica something or other.
Yeah.
It's some airplane sex play, or you don't know.
Put your tray tables down, take your dick out.
So, roughly, basically, we established that he's got an ex-wife.
Yep.
Who's also a dancer.
And he's got a daughter with her.
Yeah, and the ex-wife is in this production.
Yeah, like it's implied that he's staging it specifically for her so she can have the role she wants.
Right.
Which I think is the lead.
Which is, the character is 10 years her junior.
Yeah. I'm
Just
like,
24.
Like I can play 24. She's an amazing dancer. She's got great control of her body.
She looks a lot like the wife from Jaws 2, does she not?
Sure. I mean, she looks like she's in her mid-30s.
I mean, she's super limber. She's doing all the pirouettes and whatever. He even says at one point,
Straighten that leg.
She's like,
It is as straight as it's ever going to get.
So yeah, then he's got a daughter who's probably 10.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Who's also a dancer, aspiring or just through hobby. And then he's got a girlfriend who herself is probably 24.
Yeah. And we don't meet her until after he's sleeping with that girl whose phone number he got when he cast.
Yes. She walks in and she's just like, oh, I'm sorry. She's weeping and runs out.
She seems like a really nice lady.
She does. And I think she's quite good looking. And there's even a bit where the girl's like,
Did I screw anything up?
he's like,
No. I screwed it up.
and then he's looking under the sheet at her body. She giggles. And so, yeah, then he's just kind of going about the business of trying to get this play off the ground. It's a lot of rehearsal. He's also editing the movie that's based on Lenny Bruce.
Death is in.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And I'm not a big Lenny Bruce fan. So I was like, oh, are they using... I sent you a message. I'm like, are they actually using that movie?
No.
No,
not any of the material either.
No, it's just some guy being a Lenny Bruce type.
Who looks like Paul Provenza? You know Paul Provenza?
Yeah.
It's just like Paul Provenza. I was like, I can't be him.
Yeah.
It's not possible. But boy, do they have a similar look going.
There are a number of times when I'm watching these older movies where I'm like, oh, wait, no.
No, it's not possible.
He'd be like 9, if alive.
Exact same age as now. Also, Roy Scheider's quite the sex monster in this.
He is.
He's a bad dude. Like, within the context of the times and the movie, it's like, yeah, man, he climbed to the top. Now he can have any woman he wants.
Yeah, and he's like...
from all the cast.
Open about it, too. He's like a regular old Cary Fukunawa.
But he would be so canceled. The power dynamic's disgusting to watch. Like, at the one point when he's, like, abusing the girlfriend. Or I should say the fling, to not confuse it. But at the dance session where they're practicing...
Yeah, that was her.
Really hard.
Okay, I was questioning that for a second.
He is really rough on her.
Yes, probably much rougher than he needs to be.
Yeah.
Maybe I should quit. I just can't, seem to do anything right.
Especially because then he, rewards her with praise.
I can't make you a great dancer. I don't even know if I can make you a good dancer. But if you Keep trying and don't quit. I know I can make it better, Vince.
It's like very abusive.
It's a wonderful example of why this isn't okay. The power dynamic is completely off.
Yeah.
This is what makes it abuse.
Right. Because even his wife, even though they're in a different place now, in some regards, she's also very much dependent upon him for her career. And he's even alluding to the possibility, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't, maybe this isn't the right role.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of throwing it in her face a little bit. And
I threw you off with your plot.
well, so yeah, he's just fucking obsessing over the editing of this movie.
Got time to make some changes?
Not make the screening tonight, no.
Which I think they said he's like 7 months in.
On a 4-month editing schedule, you've gone 7 months.
He'd be like 4 times over his budget for editing it.
We're already $2 million over the original budget.
It's the dad from Elf.
Oh, is that right?
Dude, in 10 years, he goes from looking like a regular dude to being the oldest fucking man in Elf with the glasses.
I really like that character.
I think he was really good.
Especially later in the hospital when the reviews are coming out and he's like, it's going to be a blockbuster, I thought that was great.
Isn't that crazy to think he looks like this?
Mm-hmm.
In Elf, he's only 5 years older than me. He's 35 in this one, he's 45 in Elf.
Yeah.
He looks like he's about 60 in Elf.
Hey, man.
And then, I wonder, how does his trajectory work? Because, okay, he does Elf, that's in the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
He does A Minute with Stan Hooper, which is the Norm Macdonald sitcom that lasted 1 season. But somewhere in there, I think maybe it must be after that, he's like sucking dick for crack on camera and doing gay porn.
Really?
You aren't aware of this?
I don't follow this.
The dad from Elf.
Wow.
I think he developed a severe drug addiction and was doing porno for drugs.
Probably with Ben Stiller.
Is that a reference to?
Permanent Midnight. The guy who made Elf was a huge heroin addict.
Yeah, I have the book.
Yeah.
I got the book.
He's got
a couple of those books.
Yeah, so that's probably where he got it from.
Pretty wild, man.
It is wild.
He just died in 2019, by the way. I like to keep track of how old these people are when they die.
So there were actually 2 actors in here that I did know, and I was surprised to see. I don't know if you caught either of them. One was an assistant accountant when they were talking about how much money the movie could make if they stopped the production.
You could be the first show on Broadway to make a profit without really opening.
Yeah, what was he? Well, is he the doctor in Dressed to Kill also? Psychiatrist?
No. You mean Michael Caine? Oh, the other guy.
No.
He's inconceivable.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Oh, yeah, Wallace Shawn.
Wallace Shawn,
Okay.
yeah.
I think that other guy might be in Dressed to Kill also.
That's a high possibility. I'm familiar with that guy. And then later on in the movie, CCH Pounder is...
I wrote that down too. Was she a nurse? Right?
A nurse, yeah.
Having a heart attack.
No, that's impossible, Mr. Gideon. I just gave you your medication.
Who the wife or the girlfriend blows up at.
I get pretty pumped when I see people I recognize.
Another person. And like traditional CCH Pounder, she looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Right?
She's still cooking along.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She's doing all right. The Shield was her big thing, right?
I think The Shield was sort of like her kind of like late career reemergence. Mm-hmm. Like she kind of was just doing here and there, and then The Shield skyrocketed her again.
Yeah, she's good in that.
She's great in there. So, yeah, I mean, it's...
Dancing.
So then we actually get the Keith Gordon scene, which is I'm like, oh, he's playing a young Roy Scheider.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was something that came up on like Jaws.
Yeah, like what are these? I think these connections are probably often nothing. I would imagine here it would be nothing that links the two. Like he auditioned for it. I doubt him and Roy had really any interaction on the Jaws 2 set.
I mean, I'm kind of getting the impression like it was just a set that came to town to film a movie, and what is it to do? And there's nothing. Let's, I don't know. He seems much younger in here than he did in Jaws, to me at least. Maybe not much younger, but younger.
Not as much hair?
Possibly, yeah. So he's young Joe Gideon, who works at a brothel or a cabaret. He is a tap dance act.
Tops and Taps, maybe present Mr. Joe Gideon.
Yeah. Like in between the ladies doing their things, I think they bring out the tap dancers.
So he's backstage doing something stupid.
He's working on jokes, he says.
Right, but he's speaking
Jewish. Anything. Is it Yiddish?
Yiddish or Greek? I don't know.
Oh, it's not a language. Just
jokes I'm working on.
So the woman comes in and she's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm just, whatever. And so she's kind of like, not really razzing him, but a little bit.
But she's kind of into him, too.
Yeah, that's the weird part. Because she's like,
How old are you?
And she knows he's full of shit.
because he's like,
19?
well, I would have been born in, and she goes,
I'm 1934.
and he's like,
Right, 1934.
she goes, or maybe.
1935?
He's like,
1935, yeah.
and then she gets up and she's like, well, let's have a drink sometime. And he's like, boing.
And I mean, sure, right?
Right.
Like, he's a handsome young man, perhaps a bit too young.
It's a little disturbing that, yeah, she's like,
But it's
fresh meat.
But I think it's probably refreshing for her.
Probably.
Like a normal guy. Not
Innocent,
a sleazy dude.
right.
Not a married guy.
Yeah, he's
A young kid with promise.
apparently not giving them much time of day. He's probably just there hoping to break out or whatever. Oh, no, so then he's about to go on.
Yeah, this part's great.
There's a real hack comic just doing like a real hack job, and I thought that was great.
I don't look for big laughs. I'll settle for intelligent
His
nods.
jokes were so bad.
Oh, they're terrible, but I liked them. They're perfect. And so right when he's about to get on, 3 ladies run up.
They swarm him.
Yeah, one starts rubbing on his wiener through his pants. The other one puts his face in her titties, and the other one's just kind of talking sexy and dirty. The music plays, so he has to go out, and he just goes right into his number.
And I thought he had a boner.
That's what I thought. I mean, you could clearly see that there wasn't a boner, but I thought, well, maybe that's going to be the joke.
And I was also thinking, like, how would you notice a boner through... I assume he has quite thick pants on.
Not even thick, tight. It's this 50s?
Oh, well, I suppose if he was supposed to be born in, like, 30... Yeah, it's probably, like, 55, 56.
Something like that. But I thought, well, if he's got a boner, he just discovered his perfect act. Come out and do your dumb tap dance, but with a raging hard-on. In this environment, they would kill.
So everybody's laughing at him.
Yeah.
So hysterically.
And he's looking around, what are you? And he looks down and he's just got the hugest Jackie stain.
Jackie stain?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
That's because I just coined it.
Okay. His front of his pants are covered in cum.
A lot.
A lot of semen.
Yeah, he's just wet.
And listen, I have some problems with this. Because the way that it looks, in the close-up that they show us, it's as though somebody walked up to him and shot a load on his crotch. It's mildly wet from it traveling from the other side of his underwear. And
saturated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the goo. I believe that if I came in my pants and it slowly soaked through, I think it would look a little bit like I peed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you would be looking at all that like somebody threw a wad of slime down there.
I can only imagine Bob Fosse's like, that semen stain ain't playing. It ain't reading.
Goo it up, and we gotta know it's the goo.
No, more. Get the mayonnaise, the old mayonnaise.
Dance. Dance harder.
That's
it. That's all of Keith Gordon except for a split second at the end.
Split, blink, and you miss it.
Yep.
Split. I even took a screenshot because I was like, that's him.
Yeah, man, I gotta start screenshotting the shit out of these movies for the Instagram posts.
I normally I watched this one on my phone at work. I ended up falling asleep last night, like super early. And then I woke up and I was like, I should watch that. And I just went right back to bed. So I watched it at work on my phone, but I probably would have watched it on my laptop had I had the chance. I hate watching things on my phone.
I've only watched one.
Other than YouTube videos, I watch them all the time.
For somebody who used to make a lot of YouTube videos, I don't watch videos on my phone.
I mean, all the good ones. There's nothing else to watch.
Right. Right. The Peeper?
The Peeper.
Peeper's nothing.
The Peeper is pretty good.
What about the Moon?
That one's pretty good too.
I think that one's one of the best ones I ever made.
Yeah, that one's really good. Yeah.
Adult hide and seek. If
Yeah.
he finds you, he fucks you.
I thought of that when we were over at the chateau. As we walked up those stairs.
Right.
So, that really not a whole lot happens then for probably the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We see the dance number with his daughter. Oh, so the girlfriend is like, hey, I got offered a gig to go out of town for like 6 months. And she's like, should I go? And he's like, you do you.
You know my speech.
Mhm.
Tell him to go.
And she's like, God damn it, Joe. I want to be with you. I love everything about you. And he's like, I buy you jewelry and then stuff. And she's like, yeah, and that's fine, but...
I just wish you weren't so generous with your cock.
Because he's just banging everything, left and right, Clearly that's why his wife left him. So he says to her, don't go, baby. Right, it's a load of horse shit.
You believe in love?
I believe in saying I love you.
You say it all the time.
I say it a lot. A lot.
When? when it works.
Although I don't think we actually see him sleep with anybody else for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
So maybe he was actually true to her.
Whatever.
I don't know.
But good for him. She seems like a good lady.
She does. And later on, his daughter, he's teaching her some stuff, and she's like, why don't you marry her? She's great. And he's like, well, that's the problem. She's great. Okay. So why don't you marry that other blonde? And she's just running down the laundry list of all these women, and it's like, he doesn't even have the wherewithal to see that even his daughter sees his philandering ways and is like no longer shocked by it.
Roy Scheider is quite old in this movie, like 47, I think.
He's cut to hell when he's getting his physical.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
He's got old man face, though.
Oh, absolutely. He strikes me as one of those guys who's always had an old, just weathered, leathered.
But I imagine Bob Fosse was also, in that age bracket. A little old to be whoring around still.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'd think he'd want to settle down and have some comfort.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly he's been fucking his dick off for like 30 years. You don't get sick of it? You don't just want a friend? Somebody to snuggle with?
I guess not, man. I mean, what is his life, right? He just gets wasted all the time and passes out and maybe fucks some chick?
Yeah.
He's just too fucked up all the time to even really...
He's really running his... the Dexedrine, that's an amphetamine.
Mm-hmm.
That's so much to be putting your body through that every day. It's no wonder he starts falling apart.
Cigarettes, booze, uppers, I mean, probably late nights.
Yeah, he's not getting a ton of sleep.
He's working
I think that's
himself.
The whole point with that sequence. Like, he might be a bit hungover, but I feel like he's getting like 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night.
There's a nice number. The movie eventually gets finished. He finally finishes it. Mm-hmm. But he even says to the guy, like, hey, when you're screening this, tell them it's not done yet. Because I want to do some more passes. Because there's even that bit earlier where the guy's like, we're over budget. And he's like, I changed the whatever scene. And the guy watches it and he's just like,
Oh my God. It is better.
And so on the night of the premiere, the daughter and the girlfriend had worked out a little dance number to perform for him. Mm-hmm. And, it's whatever.
That's the happiest he's ever been, though.
Probably. It's probably the one moment where maybe he can see that maybe it's time, and this is what I want.
Or, even that, like, this is life.
Yeah.
This is actual life here, seeing this moment.
Probably somewhere in there is the sexy dance number.
Which is really something.
It is.
He gets forced into putting a shitty song into his play. And it's bad. He's working out the dances for it. He hates the dances.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a breakthrough talking to somebody.
Something, yeah.
And it becomes this super hardcore fucking pornorific sexy.
Yeah.
In the dark with smoke and fog.
Flying not only coast to coast, but anywhere your desires and fantasies wish to take you. Take off with us.
Yeah, tits out.
Yeah, like and very
sheer clothing. The men are just down to basically like the tidiest banana hammocks.
And it's gay and straight, which is nice. It's
the
boys are on the boys, the girls are on the girls, the boys are on the girls.
Yeah, there's even one moment where one of the producers of the Money Men, he's like,
no, Sinatra will never record it.
Like they were going to try to get Frank Sinatra, I guess, to perform the number.
Is that the line? I thought it was something about it not playing somewhere else.
I thought he said
family friendly.
Well, they said.
I think we just lost the family audience.
There, okay.
But then a few minutes later, he goes, Sinatra won't record this now once the tits come out. I'm like, do you not know Sinatra?
And did anybody see those tits?
Yeah.
Those tits were really very nice.
Yeah, they were. There was one lady, she had on like a sheer leotard.
Mm-hmm.
And her breasts were nice as well.
There's like such a sweaty, like dirtiness to all the dancing.
Well, yeah,
and I love it.
They're pumping out smoke for one. They're holding big flashlights and doing the lighting like that. So it's like kind of creepy. And they're like, I'm Janet, David,
Yeah.
And then you see like the band over in the corner just ripping it up. Yeah, it's a number.
Dude, I even like even when they're introducing the movie and we see the dancers, like their leotards look shitty. They look worn out and dirty. And I feel like that's way hotter because it's more lived in And that is more, I think, lived in is something I bring up a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
But I think that is what was missing from Waking the Dead when they did all the 70s scenes.
Absolutely.
And you see everybody in their brand new clothing. Look at these fucking motherfuckers. These are their dancing clothes that they wear 6 days a week.
Yeah, a lot of those folk were just dancers.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of the characters were based on real life people too. The John Lithgow character.
That was John Lithgow was a surprise too.
Yeah. So basically, then they're doing a script reading, a table read.
Yeah.
Is it of this movie or play?
Yeah, it's the not dancing.
Because
it's the scripts that get you to the dancing.
Oh, so after the sexy number, Roy Scheider goes over to his wife and they're pretending like they're not talking, and he's like,
Oh, I don't think they liked it. What do you think?
And she's like,
I don't know about the audiences, but I think it's the best work you've ever done.
And then she looks up at him and just looks upset. And
You son of a bitch.
so then later they're doing the table read, and I assumed it was for that script, but there's just the number of jokes from what we could hear.
Well, we barely hear any of it before the sound drops.
That's what I mean. So there's like 3 or 4 jokes right off the bat.
You see, Sammy, in California, everybody needs a car. I got a friend who bought a Mercedes just to get to the bathroom.
And then the sound drops out. And then it's just, you just hear him
tapping the cigarette,
breaking the cigarette, pacing. The wife's giving him looks. And it goes on for a couple of minutes.
I don't really like that.
Yes.
It's really stylish, pulls you right inside of him. Because that's what's happening to him, right? He hears nothing.
Yep.
He's locked in himself.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going wrong.
Yes. And in a lot of ways, it reminds me of the gallery scene in Dress to Kill. Because there's no dialogue. I mean, there's a little more Foley going on, but not a tremendous amount. Mostly it's just her fucking loud ass shoes. But so then it cut. Great. Everybody go away and then come back in a little bit. And we see Roy just sitting there. And then all of a sudden it cuts to his wife running out of a room past a woman. Like, is everything all right? She's like, I gotta go. And she goes outside and goes to the hospital because he's in the hospital all of a sudden. I'm like, did I miss a collapse? Or no, he just, I guess, went to the hospital and was like, I got chest pain. So they admit him both.
They administer some sedatives.
Yeah, and the doctor's like, he's having angioplasty.
Mr. Gideon is having severe attacks of angina that could possibly lead to a massive coronary.
Too many amphetamines.
He's got a heart racing and it needs to not race.
And sometimes it stops. It races and then it stops.
And so there he's like, that's horseshit.
I gotta get back to rehearsals. I'm fine. What do doctors know?
Asshole.
He gets real pushy. I'm the guy and I'm gonna make it happen.
My heart. Why didn't you tell me I had heart problems?
And then he collapses, right?
Basically, they pick him up and put him on a table. The wife's there. I think maybe the girlfriend's there too. The producers or something. So he's like, all right, fuck it. Hook me up. And they're monitoring him. And somewhere in there is when we see the money guys crunch in the numbers.
Mr. Gideon should die, and you resume production with another director within the 180 days. We are still not liable.
Yeah, to figure out if...
Because they're like, we're going to have to postpone for like 4 weeks. 4 months?
Yeah, it's 4 months.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of time. And maybe even before that, they met with John Lithgow. He's another director. And they were like, oh, God, it's going to be hard to keep some of these performers. You know, basically like, can you do this if Roy's out? And John, he's like, yeah, because he's the number 2 guy.
Yeah.
Right? It's even
down from the waitress to this photograph, which is pretty good.
And the guy, he goes to the guy like, you've always been a father to me. Well, you've been like a son to me, John Lithgow. Nothing's hashed out, but it seems like that's the direction they're going.
He's waiting in the wings.
Right. And so then we see that, there's insurance on the production and minus all of the costs to date. If they didn't put on the show,
You could make a profit of $519,500.
which is inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
But they, I guess, decide not to. So Roy's getting a little bit better, and he's like, I'm going to move you up to a private room. And he's like, cool. And what does he do?
Man, I thought these were all like fantasy sequences.
Yeah.
For like about 5 minutes until I realized it wasn't.
He's
entertaining people,
dancing, smoking,
drinking.
Yep. Keeps fondling that fucking nurse. And she's all like,
Rescue me! kidding.
It's so sad that in the 70s, that's how they had to pretty much deal with it.
Yes,
Like,
accept it, but playfully turn it down.
excuse me, no thank you, but...
I'm sorry I look this good and you can't help your... it's just fucking...
What a fucking horrible world.
Absolutely. She's massaging his fucking legs, like doing him a solid. And
Trying to keep you alive, man.
I'm getting an erection. And then Lenny Bruce is there. He's like telling him...
I got insight into you, Gideon. You know what's underneath? The dreadful fear that you're ordinary, not special.
He even says, like, I don't know if you're a homosexual.
But you do have a lot of feminine characteristics.
What was with that?
I don't know.
Was half of that speech good, other than that part?
I don't know. First, he was saying reasonable things to him. But the two other times when he does it, Roy Scheider's only response is, right. Like real passive, like he's not even paying attention.
Yeah.
So then maybe as a comic, he's ribbing it. Like, you're not a homosexual, because he knows he's not listening and is just going to be like, you're right. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But he's got, he does have a blonde and he's fondling her breasts. And the nurse comes in and he's like, doctor told me to get some exercise.
Isn't it like the last thing he does before the massive heart attack that he has?
Yeah.
One of two?
And then they start getting him ready for surgery.
Yeah, they fucking crack him open, get that heart back moving again.
Sometime in there, it must be after the surgery. Yeah, they crack him open, and we see a little bit of that, a little bit of the scalpel.
Between that and the awful goof around play that they made up, their song and number about doctors or whatever.
Yeah, the wife goes back to like corral the troops. I like that guy who did the number. He's like the singing guy.
The guy who writes the bad song.
And he goes,
I like his...
Damn it!
Yeah.
Oh, get out of my way!
I have a song coming to me right now!
Hospital number! Just give me a minute. Stan, will you give me some room? How does the title Hospital Hop grab you?
It grabs me.
Great.
That's horseshit.
Yeah, it's all the same song.
He reminds me of the guy from Family Guy. Play me out, Johnny! Da-da-da-da-da-da. Maybe you never watched the Family Guy. It's an American
with Nicholas
comedy.
Cage?
No,
Leone.
No, that's close. That's
is it The Family Man?
That is The Family Man. It's loosely based on Family Guy, but there are some similarities. But
so it's about like having a regret and seeing how your life could have been.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. So there's a guy like that.
Because they do go to John Lithgow and they're like, he's rallying. We're going to go with him instead. And then the waitress or whoever.
Next to Joe Gideon, you're my favorite director.
You're my second favorite.
He's just like, bitch. And then he even gives the guys a script that he doctored up. And they're like, what?
So full of notes.
You really went above and beyond. You are a good friend. And then the check comes and he's like, gonna pay it, and the guy goes, "Oh no, I said
I'll get this."
his play just bombed, didn't it?
Apparently, because she says,
I'm so sorry your show was a flop.
She's, oh my god, she's a character. She just like cuts him down in like 6 ways.
So that does the surgery, and he comes out of it, and he seems good. Right?
It's pretty horrible. It's quite the It's just a shot on his chest. They lay down that plastic sheeting you might see in Fire in the Sky. The alien abduction movie.
And no other movie.
A second skin. But
is that Grafton?
Cut them open, crack it open. I think it's to lock all the liquids in place so that they only come out in the one spot, so you really have a very isolated area where nothing can contaminate it.
Oh, good for them.
You don't want just your juices flying everywhere. I have no idea if that's really what's going on.
And then so he's in the bed, and the wife's there, and CCH Pounder is there, just kind of reading the mag. Either the wife or CCH Pounder is like, they cleared out 2 of your arteries. Like you were blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. Like somebody trying to go to the net versus a really good NBA player. They were just blocked.
She didn't say that.
No, she could have, but she didn't. And then he's like, I'm having another heart attack. And she's like, it's impossible.
At what point does he... Is it after the second heart attack that he starts wandering around the hospital and goes to hang out with that orderly?
Yeah, CCH Pounder's like, it's impossible.
You couldn't possibly. And he's like, yes, I am. Why would you argue with him?
Right, just call somebody. And so the wife
already had one. He knows what it feels like.
She goes, you already had your medicine. And the wife's like, pump him up like a Nike shoe in the 90s. And she's like, what are the 90s? And so I think she does administer a shot or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the wife fucking checks her. Bitch, it's my man-ish.
Does that happen?
She does check her when she walks past her. I don't think there was any grand revelation, but anyway, so then he pretty much gets up and just starts walking around. A nurse comes back and she's like, calls the doctor or something I don't know where he is.
He's loose. He's on. The juice is loose.
I went at an emergency and the juice is loose. And it's the 70s, so it's like there's no absolute way of finding him except to call the orderlies.
Yeah. These fucking knuckleheads.
Yeah, like
these guys down.
And he goes, I guess we better go look for this guy. And he gets to like second base with like a dying old woman.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Right? He like comes in and hugs her and then kisses her.
I think you're the most beautiful thing in the world.
I think he's just trying to comfort her, right? Like this is in his reflection of life.
I guess she's delirious, I think.
Yeah.
So she believes he's her husband or something.
Something.
Right. And he, gently closes the shade like, arrivederci, baby, and wanders down to the mess or the kitchen. Eventually the cook or janitor, some guy.
Man, I won't have any trouble at all keeping him here. He just wants to sit around and sing old-time songs.
And they sing old show tunes.
They do. It's a nice moment.
It is. And he busts his head at some point because he's bleeding.
Yeah, he probably... Oh, he bangs his head on the wall.
In the stairwell?
Yeah.
So the orderlies come down and just like scoop him up. Come on, old man, we're going back to your room. And then they restrain him, give him a shot of something. And he looks over at his heart rate monitor, and it's not the strongest, but it's there. And then it goes into the Ben Vereen dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
What can I tell you about my next guest? This cat allowed himself to be adored but not loved. And his success in show business was matched by failure in his personal relationship bag. Now, that's where he really bombed.
Now, we've seen Ben Vereen a few times before.
Do they have a recording of...
I assume it's just live broadcast.
But I feel like we've seen it at least twice, the Ben Vereen thing.
But it's on successive times progressing.
But aren't they... It seems like they're going to introduce Joe Gideon. Do they never do that?
No, I think because the joke is that he says the same thing.
Oh.
Regardless of who the guest is.
Okay.
Because that's why Roy Scheider, he knows what he's going to say.
A great entertainer.
A great entertainer.
A great humanitarian.
A great humanitarian.
And then the second time, the girlfriend knows what he's going to say.
A great entertainer.
A great entertainer.
Great humanitarian.
Great humanitarian.
As if he's giving him like an iodine wash or something on his arm.
I think that's what you do to disinfect the arm before you slip a needle in there.
Okay, so...
although that's too much. You don't cover the fucking...
I'm like, is he
the
getting
entire
fucking
arm.
skin graft?
Probably just the 2x2 area.
Yeah. So, he's in the bed and it fades to the dream sequence where Ben Vereen is now introducing him.
Mm-hmm.
A so-so entertainer, not much of a humanitarian, and this cat was never nobody's friend.
And it's Roy in like full-on makeup and a leotard or some sort of a suit.
Black sparkling sequence.
Yep, he's on a piano and he's doing... I forget what the fucking song is now.
Oh, what? It's the one that goes through the whole number, right?
Yeah, and it's a song.
What is it? I like that.
It's a very well-known song.
It's not.
Yeah.
Not right down. None of us remembers.
No, we didn't. And I'm gonna have to pull up.
Remember when his the comedy that he directed, the movie he's editing within the film, it got rated half a balloon on the 4-balloon scale. Rating movie, it's so stupid. Oh, I love Bye Bye Happiness.
Yeah.
I don't think you can play much of it when they sue us.
Yeah.
I liked the version of the song.
Mm-hmm. It's not the traditional version.
No.
And it meanders and there's a slight duet portion. And
yeah. And they have the gorgeous dancers are like his heart's ventricles.
They got like the vein.
Yeah, they look like the guy from the PBS Body Show. Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's his name. In the audience, we see the girlfriend with the new boyfriend, because she's fucking some guy now. Mm-hmm. She admits to Roy. And he says something to her before he goes under. Like, I still love you, or some shit. He's like, I was just saying that to be nice.
We see people with white face paint. Clearly, they're supposed to be dead.
Yep. We see some nude ladies, the wife, the daughter.
Him as a youngster, Keith Gordon.
Who's like obstructed by like some sort of a see-through set piece or something. I mean, it was like, why isn't he a part of the number, maybe? Dancing. We know he taps, unless that wasn't really him. Something. It's like, there he is. Zoom in real close. He's obstructed by something, and then we never see him again. I'm like, I wonder if Jason even noticed.
I sure did. I wondered if you noticed it.
Because it's like, boy, if I'd have looked away for a split second,
you wouldn't have seen him.
It would not have seen him, and it's so stupid.
But so this song, it goes on for 7 minutes. This is why I thought you were talking about when you're like, why does this keep going?
Oh, sure.
And when it turned out we were talking about different movies.
Yeah, that's funny.
I don't know. It's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
He even has that speech to himself because there's 2 versions of him. At one point, the sick version and the director.
The director, right?
Cut! You blew it. You forgot your line.
At the end of this number, you're supposed to say,
No, I Want to Live.
Well, look, if you can't say it, you can't say it. We'll just have to cut it, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't get it out.
It's all incubated.
Oh, yeah, he's got the two.
Intubated?
Intubated, yeah.
Yeah. If he was an egg, he'd be incubated.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then he dies at the end.
Well, come on. So, the whole production.
Yes.
I liked it because after it was over, everybody's cheering. And then we do a shot of the producer, and he's not, because they're like, oh, how much does this cost?
Mm.
Right? Because that's what producers are like. They're curmudgeons.
Yes.
Curmudgeons? Curmudgeons.
It's curmudgeon, yeah.
It's curmudgeon. Like cheese curd.
You're thinking about crumbs.
Yes. It's the whole thing going on. I'm dying, I think.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Am I your death dream?
Yes. I think there's even a musical bit with the girlfriend and the wife and the daughter. Like, don't leave me, and
they have
the daughter's like
makeup
smoking.
and leotards on. Yeah.
Yeah. So it ends. The number is over. Roy's basically like from the JCVD scene where Jean-Claude rises above this sort of thing's happening, but he's just kind of
sliding down the hallway. It's like the Spike Lee tracking shot.
And then we see it from his point of view. The music starts to pick up and is almost going to crescendo, and then it just hard cuts to him in a body bag.
Well, you also he's going towards Jessica Lange, that Spectre that he's been speaking
right
through the whole movie.
And then they just zip him up.
His last woman.
And
I didn't expect him to die.
He is dead. Zip. Credits. I just directed that.
You did.
This movie is really fucking good.
Yeah, I liked it.
You know, it's so far the one that pops to my mind that I would watch again.
I would not watch this again. I liked it. Yeah, I don't really rewatch movies.
Man.
It's very rare that I rewatch something.
I guess.
It's got to really have something crazy going on for it.
I wish I would have forced Callie to watch this. She might have liked it.
I wanted Jenny to watch it. I was really surprised she didn't. I'm glad she didn't because he dies at the end. Would have been, she would not have liked it.
I think it's like this is the kind of shit that I think they try to do nowadays with like Birdman, and it just doesn't land as much. I don't know if it's the level of polish.
I have to pee really bad. Can you keep going about the movie? I can even yell to you.
You need cordless. Oh, there's that fucking hum again.
But no, it's a good movie.
I thought everybody was great. It's like one of those, maybe it's just the time where, I don't know, people aren't looking to like necessarily break out. So you just get really good lived in characters. Like Josh, his agent. Manager.
His agent? What do you know with that guy?
I don't know what he does. But like that, a thankless role. I mean, it lands him Alf 5 years later, but...
Actually, I would like to look through his filmography. I should look through that and see what else he was doing.
You know, I mean, CCH Pounder goes on, and Wallace Shawn is just everywhere.
Yeah, this is very...
Would this have been before Dinner with Andre?
Yeah, by a few years.
Yeah, a couple years.
He looks a lot younger than this thing, anything else.
Yeah, I was actually like, oh, is he even going to have any lines? You know, and he does. Couple. I thought like the dancers were great. The numbers that were in there I thought were really good. I thought the ending was just whiz bang.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of like the last 70s auteur movies.
Yeah.
Like when you get away with these types of movies.
Yes.
Drawn out, dark, very much the vision of the director. I don't know. I feel like maybe we get more superstars and popcorn as the 80s roll in. I don't know.
It's hard to say. Yeah, because it all starts to become like, what do they call those? Like a theme park attraction where the exploration of like somebody's demons are just like so fucking blunt. Mm-hmm. And they're really kind of nuanced in here. They're just happening.
Yeah.
You know, it isn't like this is the scene where he's abusive to her. It just is. And now, you know, you get into these things and it's just like so fucking ham-fisted.
I think I really like the Keith Gordon scene too, because I feel like that really sheds some light on his like hypersexualization as an adult.
Very much so.
The times that he spent doing that as a young man.
Yeah, very much so. You know, like I like the staging of it. Like I said, you know, his mother's basically in her kitchen cooking big pot of sauce or some shit, right?
Sunday sauce.
Talking to the death character, who's always like when they used to film ladies in like Star Trek and they like smear Vaseline on the camera. It gives her like that fuzzy haze.
But she's almost always got a veil on, though. Like she's covered in
that too.
The veil fabric.
That too. And in fact, I think when she appears in his mirror, I think that's a projection because Roy Scheider does his left hand out to the side a little bit and one of his fingers slightly illuminates on the tip. So I think they projected that onto the mirror.
Look at you.
Hey, that's why you pay me nothing.
Yes.
We're equal. So we're meaning to talk to you about, but we'll do that later. Yeah, it's a good movie, man. It really, I'm beginning to like this era of cinema more. I'm not as well versed in it other than the Jaws or the Shining type landmark, movies, but I like it, man. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I feel like this movie was really something.
Yeah.
Like we actually watched a thing that mattered.
And you know what they did?
At its time. Filmographies?
No. They said the name of the movie in the movie.
Did they? When did they say that?
And he came to believe that work, show business, love, his whole life, even himself, and all that jazz was bullshit.
All that jazz?
All that jazz.
Get the fucking title right if you're gonna do that, Jules.
The Jazz Singer?
Yeah. That's the name of the movie.
Not a lot of jazz in here.
There's no jazz.
It's a little jazzy, but because this is like the disco era. There's not a lot of disco, but I don't know, like the end number kind of seems more disco than jazz.
Yeah.
The sexy number is like, I don't know what. It's a little jazzy. I mean, jazz is something
like
different.
Avant-garde, like art.
It's got
art theater,
which is kind of like bop, not bop, but jazz a little bit.
The I Think I'm Gonna Die thing at the end.
No, that's I don't know what that is either.
Okay.
That's like some Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah, where they sell oil for snakes.
Yeah.
Their scales are rough.
The song's like called like Being Friends or something stupid. I'm surprised you don't know it.
No, I don't.
It's very weird.
No, man.
It's one of their worst songs, collectively.
I guess maybe I'll look this up later. I'm curious about watching more Bob Fosse movies. I really hope we pull Ray Liotta from the hat next. If you put his name in, I hope we pull it.
It's not in, is it?
No.
I was talking to Joel about Ray Liotta.
Dude, I was talking about Field of Dreams earlier for whatever reason.
I just gave a VHS copy to my brother.
I was talking about movies that make me cry.
Yeah.
Goddamn, Spider-Man 2 makes me cry so hard. And then in Field of Dreams when he finally gets to play catch with his dad.
There's that scene in Spider-Man 2 where he... Well, that gives me goosebumps every time. Where he's talking to Aunt May in the kitchen. And he's basically going to tell her what happened. And there's a split moment where you can see on Tobey Maguire's face where he decides to tell her. He even gives himself like a yeah kind of thing. Some good acting right there.
Dude, I only saw the first Spider-Man one time in the theaters. Was quite disappointed in it.
Yeah, it was goofy.
Spider-Man 2.
The end of Spider-Man 1 is great. The fight scene. It's dark. It's brutal.
Okay.
Most of the movie, though, is not.
When was the last time you saw it?
The first one?
Yeah.
I saw that scene recently.
Well, what I was going to get at is I started watching it with Jack the other day.
Okay.
I think it was yesterday.
He's 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking let's do this, man, because we watched Men in Black.
Oh, sure.
We watched Home Alone.
Yeah. There'll be like 1 or 2 things he's not going to get.
There's some bad words, too.
Home Alone, yeah.
Fucking Men in Black has that whole, like, Linda Fiorentino's, like, check out my pussy, you need to fuck my pussy. And he's like, I'll fuck your pussy later. It's like it goes over a 6-year-old's head. But
right.
This is like fucking 45 seconds of fuck jokes. We watched 35 minutes of Spider-Man before he was bored and wanted to play video games.
Which is, like, the worst part, because he's...
I fucking loved it, Jules.
Oh.
I wrote that movie off forever. I had a really good time with those first 35 minutes. And I'm really looking forward to watching the rest, I guess, in small chunks with him.
You know, I've been thinking about revisiting the Andrew Garfield ones.
I've never seen them. I have no interest. And I liked Andrew Garfield before all of you.
I saw each one once. And
there's only 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
God, the villains look so stupid whenever I see any screenshots.
Yeah.
I guess we met them in the newer one.
Yeah, but Jamie Foxx was different.
He looks so dumb in the...
That's what's
like,
weird.
He's a super duper nerd
there. He's super duper nerd. He's even got like a comb over.
Yeah.
And then he becomes Electro. And he's like blue. But then in this new one, I'm assuming it's Andrew Garfield's Electro.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's not blue. He's just Jamie Foxx with like an Electro army military vest on.
I've never seen this.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't really want to. I like Garfield, but...
The thing is I think he's good. Emma Stone's good. I don't really have much to say about Mark Webb. It's kind of cool that they got a guy named Webb to direct it, but he did 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
And so it's very much got that aspect to their...
He's an actor, right?
Mark Webb?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to... Man, will you tell Jack to watch Spider-Man with me?
I will. If you need me to, I'll come over and watch it with you guys.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, he's not up late. He's got to go to bed by 7.
I mean, I'm not only up after 7. Yeah. But ratings.
Okay.
Did we rate the other Gordons?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
No,
I think we did.
I think so. We only did 2.
Right. But
we
don't remember
because I remember
anything.
I thought he was better in home movie.
That's right. I think we landed on the same for Jaws.
Yeah.
8 for the movie and probably a 4 for Keith.
Give me your hot baby takes.
On this movie, I'm gonna give it an 8.
Nice.
I mean, there's really very little that it could have done to go any higher.
No.
And I don't think it needs to. I think it's a complete movie. It's shocking, actually. Keith's performance in this, I'm gonna go with a 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't think I thought he was okay in the backstage banter.
Yeah.
But other than that,
that's all there is. What do you?
Well, when he's on stage, like,
Okay.
Dude, fuck off.
Hey, can you give me a Roy Scheider rating too?
Fuck, dude. Roy, I'd give him an 8.
Really?
Based on this movie and Jaws 2, I'm like, fuck, did we do Roy next? Or not next, but do we put him in the hat?
Dude, I was thinking about that too when I saw like his good line of cool 70s movies.
Unless he entered and peaked late in his years, I'm sure we're going to have a hard time finding whatever he's in the...
I didn't know that he started acting until later on.
Yeah, because if he's doing shit in like the late 40s, 50s, good luck.
Dude, his run, like from 99 on, is real bad leading up to his death.
I could imagine.
Nothing you...
What did he do with him after the 70s and 80s? I mean...
Sequest.
Right.
It's the guy from Sequest.
I'm surprised he didn't do a lot of like mafia shit. I wonder if he was like, I don't want to do that.
Man, I should look at... He did at least one.
Because it seems like he should have landed on The Sopranos or something. I guess maybe he was dead by then. No, he wasn't. He died like a couple years ago.
He died in like 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I think he was in pretty bad shape from 2004.
I would have loved him as the dad in Grind.
Yeah, I guess.
Huh?
I think he'd probably mostly elevate the things he's in.
Yeah.
Okay, give him an 8. All right, I'm going to say All That Jazz. Also an 8. 8's a great number for this one, man. It was highly entertaining.
Yep.
Nice flavor to it. Keith, give him a 3.
I mean,
there's not a lot to go on.
There's nothing he could do.
I'm going to give him a 5.
Okay.
I clearly like this guy.
I mean, look, there's just no real way to really call this one, I don't think. With what he worked with, yeah, I guess a 5 is fine. 3, that's all I'm saying.
I was like pumped for him when that lady was flirting with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also real excited for him when they were molesting him.
I kind of thought we would revisit him.
I also thought why would we not bump back into him? That's all we needed. Yes, maybe it would have been terrible. I was going to send you a text, release the Keith cut. Hashtag release the Keith cut.
Yeah.
Why would he be in it? He doesn't need to be in it.
Well, apparently not enough to even highlight the fact that he's in it more.
Yeah. I would almost give Roy Scheider a 9. I feel like 9's too high.
No,
good.
I mean, I'm right there with you, to be honest. He
looks so cool when he's smoking too. And when he's crouching and smoking and watching the performances.
One of the because he's danced before, sang before, and something else, but he's never done all 3 in a movie, he said. But I guess Bob Fosse had to give him pointers on a smoker's hack.
Oh.
Because he's not
a smoker? He's smoking in Jaws.
He smokes everything. That's what I'm like, he doesn't, maybe he'd never stop smoking.
Does he die from lymphoma?
Could be.
He had been receiving treatment for bone marrow cancer.
I like when he's going to get his physical for his insurance.
And he's coughing like crazy.
Doctors coughing like crazy. Smoking. And he's smoking too.
There's a couple of not even overly, very silly moments like that.
Yeah.
That work nicely. Unlike home movies, in which the entire movie was trying to do silly moments over the top like that the whole time.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well, yeah.
Hey, but also seriously, if you guys can find any of those Keith Gordon movies, My Pelicari, Kent State, that other one with the old guy that's his second or third movie, that'd be cool. We'd really appreciate that. You can hit us up on We Doing Filmographies.
Yep.
That's WEDOING filmographies at gmail.com. I wanted to clarify there's a G at the end of doing.
We're doing. But we're doing.
We do it. At gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram at We Doing Filmographies.
Yep.
Go to our Discord. Just kidding, we don't have that.
Yep.
763-634-1897. Next week, we're cooking with gas with Dress to Kill.
Yeah.
The extremely boring, for at least 25 minutes, Brian De Palma film.
Yeah, there's a couple of boring sections.
Man, we'll get into it next week. Dress to Kill.
Yeah.
We Doing Filmographies. I've been Jason.
I've been Jules.
We'll see you later.